Hello and welcome to Jeremy's Garden. I'm Jeremy, and if you haven't done so already, get out, dig in, and feel your worries melt away. I know I did when I was shooting this video. Alas, today I am sitting behind my computer playing the humble role of your narrator. Yes. But that's okay. What happened while I was shooting this segment was a little bit of an audio hiccup, a little bit of an audio glitch, if you will, that caused the video to be unusable. Because if you think about shooting stuff out in your garden, if you're harvesting tomatoes, it's basically it's a one shot. It's one take done. There is no take two. You're not gluing the tomatoes back onto the plant because something went wrong in the first video. Yeah. But this was an audio issue, which means I can still use the video. I just need to do narration as opposed to live communication, uh, which is plus and minuses to it. The narration stuff I really don't want to do on these quick tip videos because the whole design of a quick tip video for the garden is simply I'm just going to say a few things about what I'm doing, just enough to kind of get your mind rolling, to get that little hamster wheel in your head spinning so that you can start to think about a certain whatever it is that I'm doing out in the garden. And that way we can start conversations and build a community. That's what the quick tip videos are. They give a little bit of information that is useful, but otherwise they're not full of, chock full of detail. I will do some long form videos that will get into more details and all that about with stuff. But the quick tip videos are dailies and they're just to get your mind moving, and that's it. Okay, so with that said, this particular video that had the audio glitch was about harvesting radishes. And before I hit the play real quick, just kind of set you up with what's going on here, is that I am harvesting the last harvest crop of my radishes that I was able to plant for the spring harvest period. And I'll get into that as we play the video. So radishes, because they are a cold weather kind of crop, you basically have a spring crop. A lot of people don't think about growing them in the fall, but most people can. Most people's climate zones will allow them to get more harvests in the fall time. So you can actually extend the amount of radishes that you can harvest and enjoy every year. I know, there's no radish there. Well, this is the end last harvest, and this is because the temperature has just simply gotten too warm. So the plant is stressed out and is basically concentrating on staying alive. When plants get stressed out, they become weak. And just like lions, hunting down their prey, they go for the weak. And insects, like lions, go for the weak. So when your plants are stressed out, they start to devour the leaves. And in this case, because it's too hot, that's the reason why these radishes are stressed out. And unfortunately, that means that none of this harvest, I'm not going to be able to use any of the greens to be able to eat. Wait, eat? What do you mean, Jeremy? Well, the whole radish plant is edible. and they are absolutely delicious. Yeah, look how bug-eaten that is. You know, so all of these right here are going into the compost pile to become food for next year's crops. So they will be reused for next year's crops, you know, as compost. But yes, you can eat radish leaves, and they're very delicious to add to your salads. If you're building salads out of your garden, or even if you buy a store-bought salad, you can add a little bit of radish greens to them. I mean, the sky is the limit, really. And in fact, what you may not realize is you probably have eaten radish greens. A lot of mixed salads are usually seasonal, and they will have a seasonal mix of greens. And radishes are one of the greens that sometimes get mixed in with those. So you probably have eaten radish greens before. And yeah, anyways, tasty stuff. So this is, yeah, this is the only resemblance to an actual radish-ish looking, radish-ish, is that a word? It is now. I'm going to start my own dictionary. Radish-ish. Anyways, so yeah, very delicious. And so, but there are a few very, very spindly looking little radishes. I'm going to actually chop those up and use them. Because besides, you know, I can still eat them. Because they aren't full radishes, they're not producing as much sugars in them, so they're a little bit more bitter, but they do have a nice radish flavor to it. And what I do with them in this case is I will blend them up, I'll puree them, and then use them in mashed potatoes, or you can do egg salad. You can add them to there, so you got a little bit of radish in your egg salad, just actually in the base. You can make glazes and sauces for them, you know, to or even dressings for your salad, so you can actually have a little bit of a radish flavor in your homemade dressings. Yeah, look at all those bug holes. uh, but with that said, let's see, I'll just stop it there for a moment because I am done. I'm actually going to close out the show at this point in the segment. So with that said, if you keep in mind the short planting to harvest time, and if you plan out from spring and you have enough crops out in your yard growing plots of radishes, you can really extend not only the time that the amount of harvest you have, but you can extend the time that you have to harvest, because you're basically picking fresh radishes every single week on a two-week rotation. Now, you might live in an area where that takes more like 3 weeks, so you're going to have to adjust accordingly for your area. Uh, and the same is true for other crops that you're doing. I always, when plants are stressed, they bolt. And when they bolt, they grow flowers. And so I always plant some of my food crops actually in with my flower beds as actual ornamentals because they're really pretty. And people will go, wow, what is that? You know, like a radish, for instance, has thousands of little flowers on it. For some, there are some different varieties, but the ones I grow have like thousands of little flowers on them. They're absolutely beautiful, and they're just humming with bees and, you know, little pollinators. Uh, and people look at it and they go, wow, that's really, really neat. What is it? Because it has texture and variety that is unique. And after they flower, they make seed. And what do you do with the seed? Well, you harvest the seed. And guess what? Now you have all the seeds you need to plant next year's crops to be able to have fresh radishes growing from your garden year after year. Okay. Before I wrap up, I'm going to append a small segment of video that I did shoot the same day that I shot this harvest, which was just a couple of days ago in my world, where I actually kind of talk a little bit more about the eating them and then pureeing them up and all that type of stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and append that. It's a really, really short segment, even though I've already kind of discussed it. So yeah, that's about, I don't know, 50 seconds or something. So with that, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. There's really going to be a lot of great content on the channel coming up, and I got a whole bunch of ideas to make it even better. You know, just to really kind of round it out and polish it and get it really rolling good. So thanks for watching. I'm Jeremy, and well, I was going to say this is my garden because that's my closing. Anyways, leave a comment, click like, hit subscribe. I'm Jeremy, and this is my garden. Okay, so I know what you're saying. You're saying, Jeremy, what do you mean you're going to eat them? I mean, look at that. That's tiny. This one, sure. This one, really? Yes. The answer is yes. And what am I going to do with them? Because I'm sure that's your next question. Is I will puree these radishes and I will use them in some mashed potatoes. I'll just add them straight to my mashed potatoes as I'm making my mashed potatoes and have a little bit of an extra flavor for my mashed potatoes. Now, alternately, you could puree them and you can add them to some of your egg mix for making like an egg salad. If you're going to make egg salad sandwiches and all that. So there's a lot of uses you can do. You just got to get creative, and you can pretty much use everything out of your garden. And yes, these are all edible, but they have been, because they're hot and they're stressed, have been eaten by the bugs. When it's not so hot out, they stay a lot healthier. But no fear, we will use that in the compost pile and go from there. All right.